I'm Laura from Worditude and welcome to another Swipe File. In this edition, I'm going to be looking at this Facebook ad that's currently being run by SiteGround. This one jumped out at me because it starts in a different kind of way from many adverts or sales pages. So up here, the first line is, "You've built an amazing site, now turn that into sales." So what you want to do with the headline of something on a sales page or on an ad is like the first line is to hook people in. And what you want is to get them nodding along going, yes, yes. And often the way that we do that is by starting with a pain point. So starting with the problem that they're experiencing right now. What they've done here is they're still meeting the reader right where they're at right now, but they're starting with an affirmation. So they're telling them something that the reader wants to hear and that's really easy for them to agree with. You've built an amazing site. Yep, like I'm on board with that. I'm really proud of the site I've built. And then they switch that to a promise of what they want next. Now turn that into sales. Then it just simply says download our holiday marketing guide to find out how. It's a very clear instruction. There's not very much text here at all. The graphic is very simple. And I found it interesting that this text doesn't mention e-commerce at all. But the graphic does. So that's potentially, that might be something that they're testing to see how people respond when e-commerce is mentioned and when it isn't mentioned. But the graphic, this is since the Facebook ad rules have changed about having 20% text, although this would have been close to being still within the 20% limit. But it's got a fair amount of text on it there. The graphic really nicely supports the idea of getting more sales. The text on here doesn't give you new information. It's just reinforcing what's already been said. So download our free holiday marketing guide. So it's just saying the same thing as that's in the original post. That's really important because they've made a really good, clear offer. They've got the attention of the right people. They've promised something that those people desperately want. And that's probably enough to get them to click through to the page. So you don't want to keep stacking more and more information for people to process because they're in a hurry. So you just keep reinforcing the message, and then that encourages them to take action rather than just to keep reading. What I noticed down here, I thought this was quite interesting. I would have done this differently. Hold on, try not to smack my mic while I navigate down. So here it restates the same call to action, get our free e-commerce guide. They've used the word e-commerce here, so that might be why they didn't use it in the text. I like the download button on Facebook ads because it makes you feel like you're going to click it and you get to download it. So it feels like there's not really any extra work to do, even though, I mean, we must all know by now that there definitely is extra work after you've clicked the button. But the action sounds so immediate. It sounds like the benefit is just right the other side of that button. So I think that one works really well. But what I thought was interesting was the text underneath doesn't fit. So it's just, so far it's got get our guide featuring content from SiteGround and our, and that word obviously says partners. And initially I thought, wow, like that's a bit of a waste of text because you've already put get our free e-commerce guide. So the next line where it says get our guide, those three words are superfluous. You could just delete them. And then it would say featuring content from SiteGround and our partners, and you'd have room for maybe a little bit more. But I'm always second guessing like what's accidental or what's deliberate on Facebook ads. And, you know, big companies, like this is why I like to feature big companies' Facebook ads. Because they've got the budget to test it. So it's always interesting to see what they're running with. I am wondering if that's deliberate, because when you quickly scan that, it's obvious that that word is partners. And then that opens a loop of curiosity and makes you wonder, who are their partners that have contributed to it? And that's the only place that it's mentioned that there are other people involved in this guide. So I don't know, maybe it wasn't a very effective use of the character limit, or maybe it's very clever curiosity generating trick that they've used there. And then I also wanted to just show you, when you click on the buttons, you click on download, I've already done that, and it opens up this page. And I think it's really important. So if you see a Facebook ad that works well for you, it's really important to click through and see where it takes you and see how well those pages go together. And then you'll learn like how the page and the landing page, how the ad and the landing page work together. So the first thing you'll notice is that the graphics are exactly the same as on the ad. Look at how well matched they are. Like there's absolutely no doubt that you've landed in the right place. And then, so the graphic perfectly mirrors the Facebook ad. So you know you've landed in the right place. The language is exactly the same. The holiday marketing guide. So the name is consistent. And you believe how often I see that doesn't happen, where there's, even the slightest discrepancy in what you've called something in an ad to what you call it on the landing page does make a big difference to the trust that you're trying to build with the reader. So it's called exactly the same thing: e-commerce marketing tips to boost your website shopping season performance. So it's the promise of what you're going to get. It reassures you that you're in the right place. The call to action is exactly the same: download the free guide. And then right on the above the page break, so it's within the first screen that you see, it includes those brands that they've partnered up with, and that helps. It's just like an instant credibility builder that you see that all these other brands are involved. And I think it's interesting that I think that works even if you don't know who these brands are. It's just the fact that somebody else has been willing to contribute their brand to this thing denotes some kind of credibility onto it. And then the rest of the page has got a bit more text in there than you would expect than you had in the Facebook ad. So the page is going to have to work. Sometimes you can have a Facebook ad that's got a fair bit of text on it, and then you wouldn't put very much more on the landing page because the ad has done the work of convincing them that they want this thing. And then when they get to the landing page, you don't want to give them loads of new information to process and make another decision because they've already decided, yeah, that's it, I want it. This has been done the other way around. So the Facebook ad has got hardly any information on it. It's just enough to get the click to get them through to the landing page. And then the landing page is going to do the seriously hard work of not only getting them to download the freebie, but also getting that commitment that they're going to use and read the freebie. They're going to go to their email address and they're going to open it. Can't emphasize that enough, that your goal when you're creating a freebie is not to get someone's email address. Your goal is that they receive the email and they open it and they take value from what it is that you've delivered to them. And so that you create that connection in them, that they associate your brain with the value that you're delivering. It's not just so that you've got an email address so that you can show up in their inbox whenever you feel like it. So I'll add a link to this page so you can read through it yourself. I'm not going to go all the way through it. I just wanted to point out those two different strategies of using Facebook ads with landing pages and show you how much work had gone into this one, which is quite a lot. It's like a mini sales page, and then there's the big clear call to action of what you need to do to be able to get it. So I'll include the link and then you can download it and see what's inside for yourself. And you can also just see like how they handle the email sequence and what goes in that. I think it's quite interesting as well that on they don't mention, or they do, e-commerce is mentioned up there, but I didn't see that the content was particularly heavily geared towards e-commerce. So it might be that they're just trying out that targeting just to see, because of this time of year, then that's more relevant to e-commerce stores. So I'm wondering maybe that's that's a freebie that they've used the e-commerce for to really get the attention of those people who are most keen and need this help right now. Okay, I hope that's helpful. All the links to be able to see this landing page will be on the post. I can't figure out how to link directly to the ad. I don't think that I can. So I'll screenshot it so you can see it for yourself because there's hardly any text there anyway. Go ahead and download the freebie and see what you find when you get there. Thanks for watching.